Sasquatch in the Wild, and this was an event that happened back in June of 2017. Mike invited a lot of the SIR members out to go out to his favorite spot, and this is what we did. I won't go into too many details on the people that are there, but everybody was a SIR member, or still is a SIR member. One of the crazy things that we found was this structure that's back here. There are all kinds of logs tied into each other, and a tree break that is going upright. Branches holding up branches, just making some pretty weird structures all over the place. Just was fun to look at. Another view of that structure. A different structure that we found with some ground art. They're pointing out how this live tree is broken, and half of it goes under this tree that's right here. The other half goes over it. And that's what we mean by a structure. Things that really don't make sense, but they still exist. So the one tree goes over this leaner, and then it comes back over this leaner, even though they're kind of twisted there at the base. If you look carefully, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Leaners subject themselves to interesting things, and there's always seems to be pairs. So you got a pair down here where Mike is. You got a pair here. And then we have other things that are happening on the other side of Jim and John. They're going up and twisted up into a different spot. Some leaners are still attached to a root structure. Some leaners, like this guy or this log right here, was brought in and placed. I love ground art, and this is a form of ground art. Do we know what all the different ground arts mean? No. And I speculate on the ones that I do know. They're my personal views. Just like people say X's mean keep out. I don't believe they do, but there's other things that I believe wholeheartedly in. This is a star pattern or an asterisk. When you have branches all merging into one location and they're going out, kind of like a star pattern, or also known as an asterisk. We found this while we were driving around. Loads of tree breaks. Tree break. Tree break. I call this ground art because ground art to me is when trees line up with another tree, which lines up to another tree, and eventually, if you start following it, you'll find a cluster of branches all mixed together. The structure back there in the trees. Found this just outside of our camp spot. I thought that was kind of intriguing. Here you have one tree leaned over, another tree leaned up, pushing up against this aspen, and then another aspen that went straight across, and it was pinned up against these two trees and this rock. Here we have a arch, a tiny little arch. It's almost like what a juvenile would recreate and put it all together, following what Mom and Dad did. Let's see if we can see that a little better. There's the arch. I like the fact that something moved the log just about 4 inches, and you can see where all the mud and fresh soil was sitting. So something moved the log on purpose. Now, a bear could do that. Sasquatch does that. I guess a person could do that. I'm not sure why a person would do that, though. A glyph. This little bit of stuff right here, I thought, when in the very beginning, I thought maybe this was a nest of sorts, because it is next to a little tiny cave. But I've found out that pack rats will make little nests like this, and sometimes elaborate, bigger nests like this. And you can find them from time to time. We are out by a watering spot, or a place for cattle to drink, and we started finding these odd footprints. We know some of them were cattle. We found some that resembled maybe a hunter here or there. But then we would find other footprints in here that just did not make a whole lot of sense. Okay, this is, Mike started asking me to shoot into this valley, and I started to film into the valley. And this thing right here, and this thing right here are baffling to me. This is easily pareidolia, but I do not know what this is. So at first glance, this looks like an alien stuck in a tree. This thing here looks like a mantis, like the insect, you know, that has really long wings and stuff. That's what it looks like. He has big, round, weird looking eyeballs. And then here's this weird looking alien thing with a black dot and a beak. I could not tell you what that is. I filmed this thing so many different ways till Sunday. It just blew my mind on what it was. I thought at first maybe these were bones of something. And it could still be bones of something, but I have no idea. This, I just recently saw this. To me, it's kind of funny. This looks like a head of something right here. Goes down with long, skinny arms, legs, and then here's the chest and the waistline. And it looks like a stick figure, or something off of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when the big mama thing comes creeping out of the ship. That's what this thing reminds me of. It's kind of creepy and weird, all rolled into one. Zoom back down there. See, it's like it's looking at me while I'm filming it. Here's its big hands. It does look like a thumb and a bunch of fingers. It's kind of creepy. And then, of course, our two little weird looking alien things here, and whatever the heck that thing is there. Don't know. We were looking at different things in here. Those two objects here and that thing, I just noticed recently, probably the last few weeks, of looking at the pictures. Mike thought he was seeing something moving around in these rocks, and I kept looking too. I thought I saw things also, but I could never zero in on it and get a good enough shot. I was still learning the DSLR camera at the time. I thought this thing right here I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, because it's not in the same frame that I'm seeing. Oh, maybe it is. So I thought this thing right here was a building of some sort. So it looks like rocks all put together to make a wall. And I thought that was kind of crazy. We thought this may have been a cave of some sort. I really don't know what Mike was photographing here. I looked back and forth on the pictures, I couldn't figure it out. There is an object that's right here. Let's see if we can point it out. Where's my cursor? Can I see it? It's right there. I do not know what this is. It looks like it could just be a dead tree up amongst rocks, but it is bizarre to me. It looks really kind of strange. If your eyes really put things to it, you could say this is an elbow right here, another elbow, and this could be hands, maybe a darkened head up in here. Now that's pareidolia. You don't know what that really is, and I don't know what that really is. It's just one of those things that when you take a photograph of something, you go, oh wow, look what I got. And the reality check is you can't go down that road. You got to be very careful about going down that road. But again, it looks kind of intriguing because it does look like a giant foot right there. But unless I can get back out to that spot and try to re-photograph this, I am just going to check this up as I have no idea what that is. And of course, let's pick on this face over here to the far right. You can see it now, you can only see part of it. So let's move the camera just a little bit. Looks like a big ol' eyeball. It's like a big ol' eyeball. A mouth, a chin, nose would be in here somewhere, a big ol' ear. Sasquatch? Nah, I doubt it. I thought this was a teepee. When I first glanced at it, I thought, oh boy, I got something going on here. And then when I pulled out, they are twisted. And they are going around this tree that's right here. So that could very well be a structure of some basic form. I have no idea what this is. It's one of those weird things I photographed. There was a guy roaming around out here. He was all dressed up in camo. He had a gun with him, but we never heard a shot go off. Alright, let's go back for a second. That's kind of weird. Wish that was in focus. That looks kind of intriguing. This thing here looks like a limb was broken, and is brought back on itself. That's weird. That's a weird structure right there. It's a weird something. I do now need to go back there and look at that. Thought I found a footprint. Anytime you see my foot on the ground, it's usually compared up to something here. This looks like a toe, a toe, a toe. Maybe another toe in here. And then it kind of goes around and comes back up again. Could be a bear print, could be a Sasquatch print. Here we have a tree break with a leading to a tree, another tree laying on top of it. Now this all could be coincidental, but because there's a tree break here, it kind of makes me think that there was something else going on. Another branch break off a tree. This is an intriguing tree. For whatever reason, it should have died, but it grew out a branch, and then the branch turned, dipped back down, came right back up again, and it's still surviving. This would be the perfect example of a giant-sized bonsai. An imprint in stone. This tree is broken right here, and it's creeping along. It's still surviving. The branches that were facing down are stuck down into the ground, and it's supporting the tree to stay alive. Something has been moving rocks in our area. We found bones. Not a whole lot of bones either. Just found like a couple here and a couple somewhere else. We felt that this was a structure of some sort. We thought this may have been a footprint. Got a toe, a toe, a toe, and a toe. And then it kind of reaches back around, and this is roughly the heel. So it's a fairly large footprint. Same thing here, got toes, 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 and a toe. Then you got the form of a foot. Another bone found on a stump. I'm gonna say the bone marrow was eaten out of it. Let's see, did I skip over one? Nope. Something was digging out the inside of the tree. That's also very strange. I don't think a bear would actually do that. Mike liked that stump. He wanted to take it home. I don't think he did though. I think he left it. Found a little shelter under a tree. Thought that was kind of cool to find. I walked the fence line and found these things. These branches were up against the barbed wire. So part of the land that we were on is a campground. The other part of the property is BLM, and that's what this area back here was all BLM. This is our campsite. There's a handful of people camping down along inside this area. What was worried about that night is that there was a sound that we heard up here on the ridge where I was standing, and it was moving, heading this direction. And we all heard it. it was the most bizarre and creepy sound we've ever heard. And it was doing these little calls here and there, and we were all talking about it as it was making these vocalizations. We don't know what it was, we have no idea, but the moonlight was hitting the tent just right, and I kept looking for a shadow to walk amongst the trees to see if I could spot whatever it was. Strange looking tree. Leaner type structure. These two trees on the outside are leaning right in on this one and being woven together near the top. I thought we had a visitor, and I took a photograph because it looked like at the moment that I was looking at a face right here, but that's just wood that's been carved, and I don't understand who'd be carving wood out there, but it certainly looked like it was carved to me when I was looking at it. Tree breaks. But I have a sneaking feeling this tree doesn't belong to this or this stump. I think it was laying in a tiny little wedge. That's what it looks like. That's what it was. Something was making a way for them to get through the fence. See how many people were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of us were there. 5 cars, yeah, that makes sense. When I break out the camera, the SIR members scatter. Actually, they don't scatter. They yell at me for taking their photographs. But this is part of the equation. You gotta be part of the story. And this was part of my story. I kept hearing things back in the woods, and I wanted to know what it was. So I kept photographing into the darkness, hoping I would catch something by accident. Accidentally showing itself. That looks kind of strange. No, that's probably a tree, but that looks kind of odd right there. If you let your mind play, this looks like a face. Looks like a nose, eyes, chin, forehead, chest of a female or having her arms crossed. And these are your legs. But I don't think that's what that was. This is when I got yelled at. And I got yelled at again. But you can't see who they are. This is when the thing was making the noises and we were listening to it. It made noises for about 2 to 3 hours. And it just kind of went on until it quit making the noises. And that's the story of our little adventure. My name is Patrick. This is Sasquatch in the Wild. If you enjoyed the journey, let your friends know. Let whoever knows about this channel. If you enjoyed what you saw, comment. If I need to do things differently, let me know. But I still have 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then I'll be touching base on 24. But right now, we're going to finish out 2017 and go into 2018 probably in about a month or so. Again, my name is Patrick. This is Sasquatch in the Wild. I hope you enjoyed the journey, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.